This is absolutely hilarious. Am I the only person that like thinks this is hilarious? I'm trying to, is this the only time we've ever seen a situation like this happen? Where a player has been suspended, not for a game, for a half. She's suspended for a half. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. She is suspended for a half a basketball game.
The tension inside the Chicago Sky locker room has finally exploded, and Angel Reese has pushed things past the breaking point. Her behavior has gone so far that even her own teammates won't stand by her anymore. What began as simple frustration over a rough season has spiraled into a full-blown collapse, forcing the franchise to make a tough decision about the player they once treated as their rising star.
According to the report, Reese said she doesn't believe her teammates Rachel Banham or Haley Van Lith are capable of leading a playoff team. Guard Ariel Atkins is another player on the Sky's roster with WNBA championship experience. Tyler Marsh said, "We are aware of it," what Angel Reese said. "We're addressing it in-house as currently speaking. That's where we'll stay right now."
The player who once declared herself on the same level as Caitlin Clark now stands as a warning, proof of how pride can shatter team chemistry and how bold words in public can quietly ruin relationships behind the scenes.
Tell Front Office Sports, the entire team has seen Reese's comments and they're basically unhappy with the direct attacks. They are even planning a team meeting to talk about it. We'll read you some of the excerpts, which does kind of not make her team look good. One of which say, "We can't rely on Courtney," that's Courtney Vandersloot, "to come back at the age that she's at. I know she'll be a great asset for us, but we can't rely on that. We need someone probably a little younger with some experience, somebody who's been playing the game and is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before."
Angel Reese's latest firestorm has nothing to do with her stats on the court. It's about attitude, leadership, and the respect every teammate is owed. In a stunning act of self-destruction, Reese aired criticism so severe that the Sky had no choice but to suspend her for comments deemed harmful to the team. But that suspension was only the spark. What followed was a full-blown organizational backlash that now leaves Reese's future in Chicago hanging by a thread.
Also, you guys remember the story. Angel Reese calling out her teammates, calling out the front office. You're a bum, you're a bum, you're a bum. You're a bum. Yeah, you ladies won't do it for me. Coach Marsh, can you please coach harder? Yeah, Angel Reese. 48 hours later, already backtracking on those statements, already moonwalking like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, he'd probably be proud how quickly Angel Reese is moonwalking from the comments she made. And I have an exclusive.
The tipping point came when Reese told the Chicago Tribune that the team needed great players and that she wasn't willing to accept another season like this one. To outsiders, those comments might sound like competitive drive, but to her teammates, it was the ultimate betrayal, a very public message that none of them were worthy of sharing the floor with her.
Some of the other stuff that she said was also pretty bad. Like, I'm not settling for the same we did this year. We have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me. I am willing and wanting to play with the best. And however I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm gonna do this offseason. So it's gonna be very, very important this offseason to make sure that we attract the best of the best because we can't settle for what we have this year. So her saying we can't settle for what we have this year, that is basically like a slap in the face to Becca Allen. That is a slap in the face to Rachel Banham. That is a slap in the face to Ariel Atkins.
Rachel Banham, the veteran guard who's poured her heart into this franchise, was stunned by Reese's remarks. And Ariel Atkins, who had stood by Reese through every storm, finally decided she couldn't defend her anymore.
Value safety, respect, and well-being of every player. We're committed to accountability so our players can stay focused on playing basketball. Because of statements made by Angel Reese during league-mandated media, I've never seen this before, where she is getting suspended for a half. Not a game. Not a game. One half. One half she is getting suspended for. That is absolutely hilarious.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit subscribe. That so-called great players comment wasn't just about roster moves. It was a shot fired directly at the teammates who stood beside her through one of the toughest seasons in franchise history. Reese openly questioned whether Rachel Bannum or Haley Van Leeth were truly capable of leading a playoff run. She even brushed off 36-year-old Courtney Vandersloot, claiming the team couldn't depend on someone her age and needed a younger player with more experience. And these weren't private conversations behind closed doors. These were public takedowns disguised as basketball analysis.
To be here for the rest of my career, but if things don't pan out, obviously I might have to move in a different direction and do what's best for me. And listen, I totally get that, because if you are somebody with a lot of star power, you don't want your career just like rotting away in a place, especially the Sky. The GM, Jeff Pagliocca, he absolutely sold the Sky's future. He traded away draft picks for this like win now mentality. And who he drafted? Now, I don't want to speak bad about Haley Van Leeth, but she has not had a mentor to actually mentor her to be any proper type of point guard. So she's kind of been flying in the dark. She hasn't exactly proven her worth in the—
What made Reese's comments most damaging wasn't just the words themselves, it was the delivery. While Caitlin Clark spent her rookie year battling through physical play, hostile arenas, and relentless criticism, yet still managed to lift her teammates and franchise to new levels, Reese chose the opposite path. Instead of building up those who stood by her, she tore them down. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Clark used adversity to inspire her team, while Reese turned on hers the moment things got tough.
This is the reason I have spent the last few years referring to the WNBA as a dump. This is the reason I don't feel bad when I refer to the WNBA as a toxic turd. Not only have they damn near ruined their opportunity with Caitlin Clark, the dump diver they chose to support, the pretend basketball player they have spent the last 2 years begging you to support. They desperately want her to be accepted. They are desperate to make her a star. Not only has she been rejected by normal people, Angel Reese is now being rejected and potentially kicked off of her own team.
The response from her teammates came quickly, and it was crushing. According to multiple league sources, the entire Sky roster had read Reese's remarks, and none of them were okay with the direct shots she fired. A players-only meeting was called, not to rally around their so-called star, but to confront the damage she had caused to team chemistry. In that meeting, Ariel Atkins, once one of Reese's loudest defenders, spoke up, making it clear her actions had crossed a line. Rachel Bannum's reaction showed just how deep the wound really was. Speaking to the Chicago Sun-Times, she admitted, "I think I just don't really care. I'm so over all of this. If I was younger, it would have affected me more, but I'm grown and I just don't care." The exhaustion in her words wasn't just about basketball. It was about realizing that someone she had trusted and gone to battle with had turned around and declared her unworthy. The veteran guard confessed she felt blindsided, proof that Reese hadn't just criticized, she ambushed her own teammates without warning.
Angel Reese earlier in the week in an interview threw her Chicago Sky teammates under a bus and then ran the bus over them and then backed up the bus, bouncing over them again, and then proceeded to drive over them one more good time just to be sure that their carcasses were no longer twitching. It was one of the most selfish ass interviews I've ever heard from any athlete, trashing her very own team.
At the same time, Ariel Atkins, who had once been one of Reese's most loyal defenders, backed the franchise's decision to suspend her. Ownership handled it how they see fit, she told the Sun-Times. They have full support from our team. When asked if she'd spoken to Reese since that tense team meeting, Atkins admitted she hadn't, a clear sign that even her strongest allies had now turned away. The Sky's reaction was unlike anything the organization had done before. While the half-game suspension may have looked minor from the outside, insiders confirmed it was only the first step in a series of disciplinary measures that could ultimately end with Reese's removal from the roster. In their official statement, the franchise stressed their commitment to accountability and keeping players focused on basketball, a not-so-subtle message that Reese's off-court drama had become a distraction they were no longer willing to tolerate.
Getting suspended for a first half? What is this, college football? I've seen in college where people will get suspended for a half. Not in the pros. People getting suspended for a half game in the pros. Just suspend her for the whole game. Y'all don't have nothing to lose. Y'all don't have nothing to lose. If you're going to suspend her, just suspend her for another game. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Suspending her for a half is kind of weird. But yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Coach Tyler Marsh, caught completely off guard by Reese's public remarks, confirmed that the suspension was a top-down decision from team management. The fact that the organization felt the need to discipline their leading rebounder and supposed franchise cornerstone underscores just how serious the damage to team chemistry was. When both the coaching staff and front office publicly reprimand you, it's a clear signal that your time with the team may be coming to an end. The suspension was only the visible tip of a much larger internal reckoning. Veteran Elizabeth Williams tried to frame the situation diplomatically. Reese obviously doesn't want to disrespect us, but even she acknowledged that her comments reflected a failure in leadership and communication. That Reese's teammates had to step into the media to contain the fallout shows just how completely she had lost control of the narrative. The real sting for Reese lies in the stark contrast with other star players. During her rookie season, Caitlin Clark faced criticism head-on but let her performance speak for itself while continuously uplifting her teammates. Clark understood that leadership is about elevating those around you, not tearing them down for personal gain. Her approach built loyalty and respect, while Reese's actions have sown division and resentment, damage that could prove impossible to repair. And the timing of her comments, absolutely disastrous.
We don't have many players nowadays that know how to go through that building phase and know how to stick through in the hard times and come out, when it's sunny outside. Everybody just want to just hop to where it's already a finished product and then just add their little spin to it. Because hypothetically, let's say right now, yeah, she can go hop on Minnesota and win a ring, but is that fulfilling? Like, she can go hop on Las Vegas Aces right now and help them, get there. And if she win a ring with them, but is that fulfilling? Because now it's just like you just ring chasing, which everybody should want to win a ring. But it's like, come on, at what cost? Like, winning a ring is
With the Sky already eliminated from playoff contention and sitting at a dismal 10-30, the team needed unity and leadership, not public finger-pointing. Instead of owning her role in the team's struggles, including leading the league in turnovers despite missing significant time, Reese chose to blame everyone else, casting herself as the victim of supposed organizational failures. The fallout from her comments has exposed just how much dysfunction she's sown within the franchise. When veterans like Rachel Bannum openly admit they're over all of this, it paints a damning picture of the toxic environment Reese has created. These are professional athletes who have devoted their lives to the game, yet they're being forced to navigate unnecessary drama because a teammate can't handle adversity with maturity. The contrast between Reese and Caitlin Clark couldn't be clearer. Clark consistently elevated her teammates, taking responsibility for team struggles and helping foster a winning culture. Reese, on the other hand, threw everyone under the bus while excusing herself from any accountability. Clark's approach builds respect, loyalty, and championship culture. Reese's approach has left behind division and resentment that may take years to repair.
I don't care how great you are. I don't care how talented you are. If you're constantly causing problems, if you can't get along with your colleagues, there always comes a point when the bullshit outweighs the talent. Organizations will only tolerate so much. Everyone has a breaking point. You can't be a pain in the ass. You can't ostracize your teammates while being a huge embarrassing failure. You can't be a problem when you can't win a damn game.
The most striking part of this controversy is how quickly Reese's teammates turned on her. These are players who had backed her through every prior storm, defended her against criticism, and invested in building team chemistry with someone who clearly didn't value their efforts. The fact that veterans like Ariel Atkins and Rachel Bannum felt forced to publicly voice their frustration highlights just how deeply Reese had broken the trust and respect that bind a team together. When Reese tried to apologize, it only made matters worse. Instead of fully owning her hurtful statements, she insisted they had been taken out of context. A classic deflection that showed she still didn't grasp the severity of her actions. Her teammates weren't upset about context. They were angry that someone they had supported had openly deemed them inadequate while threatening to leave unless the team brought in better players. The aftermath of this controversy has likely sealed Reese's fate in Chicago. When your own teammates openly back your suspension and admit they're fed up, it's a clear sign the relationship is irreparable. For a franchise already grappling with multiple challenges, keeping a player who actively undermines team chemistry and fuels a losing culture, both on and off the court, is simply unsustainable.
I don't think I'm frustrated. I probably am frustrated myself right now. I think the language is taken out of context, and I really didn't intentionally mean to put down my teammates because they've been through this with me throughout the whole year. They've busted their ass just how I busted my ass. They showed up for me through thick and thin and in the locker room when nobody could see anything. So I would apologize to my teammates, which I already have, about the article and how it was misconstrued, about what was said. And I just have to be better with my language because I know it's not the message, it's the messenger, and understanding what I say can be taken any kind of way. So I just have to really be better and grow from this.
This entire situation highlights a profound failure of leadership and character that goes far beyond performance on the court. While Caitlin Clark faced similar challenges during her rookie season and responded by lifting everyone around her, Reese took the opposite approach, tearing down her teammates while presenting herself as the solution to problems she helped create. The result has been a complete erosion of the trust and respect that professional sports teams rely on to succeed. The Chicago Sky's decision to discipline Reese sends an unmistakable message about organizational standards and what behavior will be tolerated. In a league where teamwork and mutual respect are essential, there is no place for players who publicly undermine their peers while refusing to own their role in the team's struggles. Reese has crossed a line that even a struggling franchise cannot overlook, regardless of her stats or star status.
I think the Chicago Bravado are realizing that Angel Reese is not worth the trouble. This is just the beginning. I think this is step one of the process, the first stage of divorce. I think the Chicago Bravado are preparing to trade the face of failure.
As this controversy unfolds, it's becoming increasingly clear that Angel Reese's tenure in Chicago is nearing its end, not because of her skills on the court, but due to a complete breakdown in leadership and teamwork. Her public remarks didn't just call out the organization, they shattered the trust and relationships that any successful team depends on. The Sky's decisive response, backed by her own teammates, sends a clear message. Some boundaries cannot be crossed, no matter how talented or promising a player may be.